Don't look at the Bank of Canada to solve Canada's housing woes. Hey all, you know who it is. It's your guy, Sat Combo. Save this post to review it later, and don't forget to like and follow. Tiff Macklem, Governor of the Bank of Canada, is laying out the limits of monetary policy as he warns the central bank can't solve problems such as housing affordability with interest rates. He says history shows monetary policy is quite effective at controlling inflation, but it also has limitations, including the inability to address short-term price fluctuations. And despite the effect of higher interest rates on housing costs today, the governor says monetary policy cannot address the structural barriers behind the housing crisis. Housing supply has fallen short of housing demand for many years. There are many reasons why: zoning restrictions, delays and uncertainties in approval processes, and the shortage of skilled workers. None of these are things that monetary policy can address, he says. The governor delivered a similar message to the MPs on the House of Commons Finance Committee last week as he faced questions about housing affordability. In a news conference later, the governor said that he's making it clear that the Central Bank of Canada can't do much about housing affordability. The Bank of Canada's rate hikes have fed into higher mortgage interest costs for homeowners and borrowing costs for developers. However, the population growth has added fuel to the fire as more people look for housing. Canada's inflation rate was 3.4% in December. Meanwhile, housing prices were 6% higher than a year ago. Macklem also warned in his speech that interest rates can't fuel economic growth in the long run, noting that can only be accomplished through population growth and productivity growth. Canada has been very good at growing its economy by adding workers, but productivity growth, meaning more output for the same amount of work, has disappointed. This is a problem because higher productivity pays for higher wages and underpins a rising standard of living. The Bank of Canada is currently holding its key interest rate as 5% and is widely expected to start cutting rates around mid-2024. Although the central bank is avoiding discussions on specific timing, the governor has indicated that it is now trying to gauge when it will be able to start cutting rates. Economists expect rate cuts to reinvigorate the housing market and raise home prices again as more people enter the market. The start of the year has shown signs of rebound in some major cities, including the Greater Toronto area, where home sales soared 37% in January compared to the same month a year ago. And in Greater Vancouver, where sales surged 38.5% compared to the same month a year ago. Macklem told reporters the Bank of Canada has factored in increased housing market activity in its economic forecasts, but ultimately, he said, policy decisions will be based on inflation. We're not targeting housing, we're targeting inflation, Tiff Macklem said. This report by the Canadian Press was first published February 6, 2024. I've attached a link if you want to read it, or give me a call and we can chat about your thoughts, concerns, or questions.